Welcome back to Pour Into Purpose with Counselor Stewart. I'm Counselor Stewart, and today I want to talk about a part of building the village that we don't always spend enough time talking about: the adults. We talk a lot about student relationships, student behavior, student belonging, and building community for our kids. And we should. But lately, I've been thinking about this. The adults are part of that community too. Teachers, counselors, administrators, educational assistants, office staff, custodians, cafeteria staff, bus drivers, support staff, all of us. We are part of the environment our students walk into every day. And if you've worked with children for any amount of time, then you already know they notice a lot more than we sometimes give them credit for. They notice when the adults seem connected. They notice when they're not. They notice when one adult tells them one thing and another adult tells them something completely different. They notice tone. They notice tension. They notice how we speak to each other. They may not know the whole story, but they can usually tell when something feels off. And I think that's worth thinking about, because we can work really hard to create belonging for students, but part of what teaches them about belonging is what they see happening between us every day. Now, I'm not saying everybody in the school needs to be best friends. That's not even realistic. We have different personalities, different roles, different experiences, and different ways of doing things. And yes, sometimes we are going to disagree, but that's okay. I don't think collaboration means everybody has to think the same. I think it means that even with our differences, students can still feel that we are working toward the same goal. And that can make a huge difference in how school feels. Think about a student moving through a regular school day. One adult allows something, another doesn't. One person gives several reminders, another responds immediately with a consequence. Then somebody else says, "Who told you that it was okay to do?" Now, imagine the student trying to figure all of that out. Sometimes what looks like a child testing boundaries may really be a child trying to figure out where the boundaries actually are. That's one reason I think shared language and shared expectations can be so helpful. And I don't mean like everybody needs to walk around sounding like robots and scripted, not like that. Nobody wants that. But there can be some things we agree on. What does respect look like here? What do we mean when we tell a student to reset? What happens after a mistake? How do we help a student take responsibility? How do we repair something when harm has been done? Those little points of consistency help students understand, okay, this is how we do things here. And honestly, it makes things a little easier for adults too. Behavior is one area where I think this really matters. A student may hear one adult say, "You're always a problem. Every time I see you, you're in trouble." And then another adult is trying to help that same child slow down, think about their actions, and make a different choice the next time. Those are two different messages. One says, "This is who you are, a problem child." The other says, "This is something we can work on together." That difference matters. We can address behavior without turning the behavior into a child's identity. Instead of, "You so disrespectful," maybe it becomes, "That response wasn't respectful. Tell me what happened." It's the same concern, but a very different conversation and a very different feeling for that child. And when students hear that kind of language for more than one adult, they begin to understand that accountability does not have to mean embarrassment. It can mean reflection. It can mean responsibility. It can mean getting another opportunity to do better. And then there's communication. Now, anybody who works in a school knows that communication can get complicated simply because everybody's moving and everybody's busy. Schools move fast. Teachers are teaching, counselors are seeing students, doing check-ins, holding groups, administrators are handling one thing after another, office staff are answering phones, helping families, and supporting students. And there are many people doing important work that we don't always see. So sometimes the problem isn't that people don't care. We just don't all have the same information. A student may have had a terrible morning, and the next adult they see has no idea. A counselor may be working on a strategy with the student, but the classroom teacher hasn't heard about it yet. A teacher may have already tried several interventions, but when the student gets referred somewhere else, everybody starts all over from the beginning. We may all be trying to help the same child while holding different pieces of the story. That's why some of the best collaboration in schools can actually be pretty simple. It may sound like, here's what I'm noticing. Are you seeing that too? Or, this strategy worked for me yesterday with her. You might want to try it. Or, I'm wondering if something else is going on with this kid. And sometimes it's just, I need some help with this one. That last one can be hard for educators. We're used to helping everybody else. We're used to figuring things out. We're used to carrying a lot. But being part of a village should mean we don't have to carry everything alone. And I think it's important to remember that useful information can come from anywhere in the building. The cafeteria worker may notice that a child has started sitting alone. The office staff may notice that a student arrives upset and late every morning. A bus driver may see a conflict building before anybody in the classroom knows about it. A custodian may notice a student lingering in the hallway when everybody else has gone. Different adults see different pieces of a child's day. When we communicate, those pieces start coming together. And that brings me to something else. The way we treat each other as adults teaches students something too. I'm going to say that again. The way we treat each other as adults teaches students how to treat each other. Students notice who gets spoken to with respect. They notice who gets ignored. They see how we respond when we disagree. They hear our tone. They notice when somebody's work is appreciated, and they notice when it isn't. We teach students how to solve problems, apologize, communicate, and repair relationships. But if we're being real, some adults need those skills too. We're human. We misunderstand each other. We get frustrated. Sometimes an email sounds harsher than we meant for it to. Sometimes we make assumptions. Sometimes we should have gone directly to someone and we didn't. And sometimes, let's be honest, we just get it wrong. And I think there's something really healthy about being able to say, I did not handle that well. I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. I should have talked to you first. Or just a simple apology. That doesn't make us less professional. It makes us human. And it models something important for students. Healthy relationships are not relationships where nothing ever goes wrong. Healthy relationships are ones where people know how to come back together when something does. I also think we need to ask whether the adults feel like they belong in the village. We talk a lot about student belonging, but adult belonging matters too. People work differently when they feel respected. People are more willing to ask for help when they feel safe doing it. People contribute more when they believe their voice matters. And sometimes building that adult culture doesn't require another program, another committee, or another meeting. Sometimes it's really simple. Checking on a coworker, sharing a resource, sharing information, saying thank you, asking, what do you think about this? Giving someone credit, following through when you said you would, offering help, not assuming the worst, having the conversation directly instead of around everybody else. Those things may feel small, but small things shape culture. So maybe instead of asking whether our school has the perfect adult culture, we can ask something a little more personal. What am I contributing to the culture around me? Am I making communication easier? Am I helping create clarity? Am I showing respect for people whose roles are different from mine? Am I willing to ask for help? Am I listening? And here's one question I really want us to think about. If our students watch the adults in our building for one entire day, what would they see? What would they learn? Would they see people supporting each other? Would they see adults who can disagree and still respect one another? Would they see people willing to help? Would they see people repair when things go wrong? Because we're teaching all the time, even when we're not standing in front of a class. And when I think about this whole idea of building the village, this just keeps coming back to me. The village isn't something we create for students and then stand outside of it. We live in it too. We bring in our communication, our attitudes, our strengths, our frustrations, our relationships. And no one person can build a healthy school culture alone. Not one teacher, not one counselor, not one administrator. It takes different people with different roles and different strengths, staying connected around the thing that brought all of us here in the first place, our students. When adults communicate, students benefit. When adults model respect, students see it. And when adults work together, students feel more supported. And when adults know how to repair relationships, students get to see what healthy community actually looks like. We're not standing outside the village building it for them. We're building it with them. And the adults are the village too. Before we go, here's your weekly pour. This week, think about one adult in your school village you could connect with a little more intentionally. Maybe it's someone you need to check in with. Maybe it's someone whose role you don't always get to see up close. Maybe there's somebody you've been meaning to communicate with a little better. Or maybe it's simply someone who deserves to hear, I appreciate you. Nothing big, nothing complicated. Just one small step towards strengthening the adult side of the village. Because sometimes building the village really does start with one conversation, one connection, and one person deciding to reach across the table. Next time, we're going to talk about what are we pouring into students. We'll look at our words, our tone, and those everyday messages that can quietly shape the way students begin to see themselves. Until next time, keep pouring with purpose and building the kind of village our students deserve. This is Counselor Stewart, and you've been listening to Pour into Purpose.